is how these champions lose their titles, then I may need to take a break from WWE. These superstars climb their way to the top of the mountain of the biggest professional wrestling company in the world, and I will not have that squandered for some momentary shock. So without further ado, here is every main roster champion and the worst possible option to dethrone them. Also, these are like realistic options, so, you know, unfortunately no R-Truth for world champion. So I figure we'll go brand by brand here. So let's start with Raw, and let's start with the Raw World Tag Team titles currently being held by the Judgment Day, and I think the worst possible team to take those tag titles away is the Awesome Truth. Now for starters, this is probably the least egregious of all the options on my list. If the Awesome Truth were to win, then I wouldn't be too upset, but the reason I have the Awesome Truth as the worst team to win it, the most realistic worst team to win it, is because I feel like tag team wrestling and the amount of tag teams we have is not in a place where we need comedy gimmicks to be winning the titles, right? I loved Awesome Truth winning the tag titles at WrestleMania. It was awesome. Pun intended, I guess. But in the end of the day, I don't think comedy gimmicks should be winning titles as frequently as this. Winning it once for a month or so is not bad, but the second you start winning over and over again and hindering other teams is when it can become a problem. Personally, I believe the best team to take this is going to be the Creed brothers. I'm not going to say my answer for the best team to win it for every single option, but, you know, because I want to make a video of that in the future. But realistically, yes, I do believe the Creed brothers are going to be the team to win it from the Judgment Day. Awesome Truth are great and they're fun. I just don't think they need this tag team title. Next up is the Intercontinental Champion Sami Zayn, and the worst possible person for him to drop this to would be Bronson Reed. Now, let me start by saying this is no disrespect to Big Bronson Reed. I think he's very good in the ring. I actually enjoy watching him, and I think eventually he should win a title, even the Intercontinental Championship. But the problem is right now there's 3 people in my mind that should win the IC Championship from Sami Zayn. Obviously, Chad Gable is another option, but he is occupied at this moment. And those 3 people are Braun Breaker, Ilya Dragunov, and Sheamus, because Sheamus needs the last title, the Intercontinental Championship, to become a Grand Slam champion, so that's why he's in that list. But overall, Bronson Reed is the only realistic option of these people that have been feuding for the Intercontinental Championship that I just think would not really make any sense in the long run and would kind of diminish the value of the stories and everything that we've had going so far. Overall, yes, I like Big Bronson Reed, and I think eventually he should win the IC Championship and maybe even a World Championship. Who knows down the line? I just think right now this is the worst time for him to win, and that's why I picked him as the worst possible option to take the IC title off of Sami Zayn. Next up is the Women's World Championship, currently being held by Liv Morgan, and the worst possible option to take that title off of her is Tiffany Stratton. This was slim pickings because realistically, Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley is the storyline. I don't feel like anybody else is really going to get involved. It's going to be Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan. I do think Rhea Ripley is going to take the title off Liv Morgan. So I had to find somebody who actually had a legitimate way of being a part of a storyline with Liv or winning the title off of Liv. So realistically, it is Tiffy Stratton. I think Tiffy is the only other person that could possibly take this title off of Liv Morgan. While I don't think it's going to happen because they're clearly building up the story between Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton and Bayley, it's always a possibility that Triple H could probably try to throw us for a spin here. We've gotten curveballs in the past. This is one I would not want because I do want Mommy to win that title back off of Liv Morgan. Tiffany Stratton should just stay what she's doing on SmackDown. She's going to probably win the WWE Women's Championship at SummerSlam off of either Nia Jax beating Bayley or just cashing in on Bayley. Somehow I think Tiffy's going to win, just not this title. This is by far the easiest to explain because World Heavyweight Champion Damian Priest, the worst person he could drop the title to is Drew McIntyre. Because flat out, if Drew McIntyre beats Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship, if you think we wasted the Money in the Bank already, you are crazy because that would be the most spit in the face of Money in the Bank we have ever seen on this company. I say that with the thought that WWE had a man win the first ever women's Money in the Bank. I say that with the thought that WWE had Otis win the Money in the Bank by catching it from falling. This would be the biggest spit in the face of Money in the Bank ever. If Drew McIntyre loses the cash-in and then still ends up winning the title, crazy to me. Damian Priest is most likely going to drop it to Gunther at SummerSlam. It just would make sense. And then you have Gunther defend it at Bash in Berlin. I generally think it's probably best for business if that occurs. But Drew McIntyre is encapsulated in a feud with CM Punk, and to a degree, I guess Seth Rollins, but the whole thing that everyone needs to focus on is Drew McIntyre will eventually win the world title, but he cannot beat Damian Priest because we have screwed him over not once, not twice, probably 348 times. And if we disrespect the Money in the Bank, which I already feel like we have disrespected enough over the years, if we disrespect it even more by having Drew still win that title, just not with the Money in the Bank easy cash in, then I really don't know where WWE is going, and I'm going to say it's probably not in the right direction. Moving on to SmackDown, and we have our WWE Tag Team Champions in DIY, and the worst team that could take those tag titles off them, I guess, is probably Legado del Fantasma. Everybody pretty much knows I'm just not a huge fan of them. I think that Santos Escobar did not need to join another faction. I think he's better independently, and I think Angel Garza and Berto would do pretty well if they joined NXT for a little bit longer and actually had more of a stint there, because I enjoyed watching them battle it out with the tag teams they had in NXT. So I really think that's probably the best way to fix this. Listen, I could be completely off here. I just generally don't find them entertaining. Like Santos Escobar, I find him entertaining. I actually like his heel work. I just don't want him leading a faction. And I think it doesn't make any sense to have him leading a faction, because I think about his work in that Money in the Bank match, and it was incredible. He's actually pretty good on his own. So, I don't know. That's just me. I could be completely off. People could think I'm crazy for not enjoying their presences. But, yeah, that's just me. Remember they tried to turn Berto heel, like, ages ago against Andrade? Weird times. Next up is United States Champion Logan Paul, and yes, this is a bit of a cop-out answer, but the person who I think would be the worst option to take the title off of Logan Paul is legitimately every single member of the SmackDown roster that is not named LA Knight. Yeah. Like I said, I know it's a cop-out, but I don't have a men's Money in the Bank to cop out like I did with the Liv Morgan Rhea Ripley situation, because we already used that, so it's unfortunate there. But yeah, I mean, honestly, man, it's LA Knight and Logan Paul, and LA Knight has to win at SummerSlam against Logan Paul, win the US title, and then go on to have an incredible reign, and I think that's exactly what's going to occur. But yeah, if any other WWE superstar on SmackDown, or pretty much any brand, NXT, SmackDown, Raw, bring them from TNA, don't care. They should not beat Logan Paul for this title. It should be LA Knight, and if it's not LA Knight, I'll be lost. I'll be completely lost as to who's going to take that title off of Logan Paul, and I'll probably be disappointed pretty much no matter who it is, because it's not LA Knight. Yeah. Next up is the brand neutral women's tag team champions of the Unholy Union, Isla Dawn and Alba Fire. And I think the worst team that could take the titles away from them is Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton. I feel like another cop-out answer, and realistically, it probably is, because Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton aren't technically a tag team, but they are two people who hang out together, and at points I could expect them to tag team. And right now, I don't see a lot of options for who Isla Dawn and Alba Fire are going to drop the tag team titles to. I think eventually it'll be Piper Niven and Chelsea Green. Once again, I got to stop giving away all the answers to who I think should take each title. But yeah, I mean, I had to pick two assemblings of women that I don't think should win this off of the Unholy Union. And I picked Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton because they're preoccupied with another storyline. Nia Jax and Tiffy are both looking to win the WWE Women's Championship off of Bayley. And speaking of that, our current WWE Women's Champion Bayley, and the worst possible option to take the title off of her is Charlotte Flair. Death, taxes, and Charlotte Flair making her way back and immediately put into a World Championship match. Those are the three guarantees in life. I also want to point out that I'm kind of all for Charlotte coming back and winning a world title pretty fast, because I honestly miss her as a world champion. I miss Charlotte way more than I expected to. I just remind myself of how incredible she is in the ring, and it's definitely missed, not because anyone else is bad, just because she is easily the best wrestler, the best women's wrestler in the world. So yes, Charlotte Flair should come back. The issue with her coming back and facing Bayley means we failed the Bayley Money in the Bank storyline, where Bayley needs to drop it to Tiffany Stratton somehow, with Tiffy cashing in, and then eventually we'll get to Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. I think that match would be unreal. It would be must-watch TV, potential 5-star match, and will most likely steal the show at WrestleMania. But if we do Bayley eventually dropping it to Charlotte, then that means we missed that opportunity in there. But yes, there's a possibility that Charlotte comes back soon and immediately gets put into a world title match. And if Bayley is the champion, then I could see it being against Bayley. I just really don't want that to be the case. I want it to be Tiffy versus Charlotte at WrestleMania. I fantasy booked that a while ago, and I really think we're going to get to see it. So let's not mess up the current storyline. Let's have Tiffy cash in and win, and then let's do Tiffy versus Charlotte for that potential 5-star match at WrestleMania. And last but certainly not least, undisputed WWE Champion Cody Rhodes and the worst, and I mean the worst possible option to dethrone the man is the Brahma Bull, the final boss, The Rock. Sorry, I sometimes get into it when The Rock is involved. He's a great character. But, as great of a character as he is, do not, and I mean do not, take the WWE Championship off of Cody Rhodes and give it to The Rock. We know we're going to get to The Rock versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Roman Reigns is a babyface the second he comes back, probably the most over babyface in the company, yes, even with Cody Rhodes there. If you put the title on The Rock and you have this match at WrestleMania for the title, meaning The Rock versus Roman Reigns for the Undisputed Championship, and then The Rock is going to drop it to Roman Reigns, of course, number one, and number two, Roman Reigns is not going to be full-time again. We are going to repeat the exact feelings that fans had when Roman Reigns originally went to the part-time schedule with that title. Fans are not going to be happy. They already are complaining about so many different things. Do you really want to take the biggest title out of the constant being on TV cycle? No, you don't. I don't care how spoiled we are as fans to have it on there every day and complain. Some people don't like Cody, some people do like Cody. It's wrestling. People are going to hate things they love and love things they hate. It's just what happens when it comes to fans nowadays. But I am telling you this in all honesty. If you have The Rock beat Cody Rhodes, I am going to lose my freaking mind. It also, in a way, kind of completely devalues everything we've done with Cody Rhodes. Because right now, Cody Rhodes is doing a great job as champion. But what he needs more is storyline. If you bring back The Rock, I just don't feel like that story is as good as other ones that are going to be told. And yes, the storyline that The Rock is coming back for is for the tribal chief aspect. Him versus Roman Reigns. It doesn't have anything to do with the undisputed title. And that's why it doesn't need to be there. There's only one person that should beat Cody Rhodes for that championship. If you guys want to know who that is, well, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on those bell notifications for when I put out who should dethrone every current champion in WWE. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.